Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Grace. I'm the crochet designer behind stitchberryblog.com, where I share a ton of free crochet patterns. And in today's tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to attach this beautiful I-cord edge to crochet projects. You can attach this edge to any crochet project, but I'm going to be specifically showing you how to attach it to the I-cord scarf, which is a free crochet pattern that I will have linked down below. And the I-cord edge just creates a really lovely finish that just completes the scarf and makes it look so chic and complete. So what you will need for this tutorial is obviously your project. I have a larger version of the scarf that I just finished here, so now I'm going to add the I-cord edge all the way around this. And so I'm going to show you how to start the I-cord, work along the edges, and then how to join it off at the end. For this tutorial, you'll need your project, the crochet hook that you are using for your project. For this pattern and with my gauge, I'm using a G 4.0 millimeter crochet hook. You will need a stitch marker, a tapestry needle at the end for weaving in ends, as well as a knitting needle. This is from my Lantern Moon set for my interchangeable needles. I honestly don't own any knitting needles that are straight, all of mine attached to cords. So if you just have knitting needles that attach to cords that detach, this works perfect for this, or you can go out and get a really cheap set from Walmart. But you want to make sure that the size of the knitting needle corresponds a little bit with the size of the crochet hook. It doesn't have to be perfect. I honestly prefer mine to be a little bit smaller because you want that point to be able to slide into stitches really easily. So I really like using this size, which is a US 2.5 3 millimeter knitting needle when I'm crocheting my I-cord, but you can use any needle size that is semi-close to the size of your crochet hook. And I did not mention this, but you want to leave your yarn attached after you have finished all of the crocheting. So to begin the I-cord edge, you want to go ahead and insert your crochet hook into that live stitch right there. Because this is the end of a scarf, this is my point right here, which is my row. You can do this I-cord edge along a row or along the side of a project, which is what I will be doing for this scarf. So now that I have my crochet hook in my loop, I'm going to go ahead and chain 4. Okay, so I have 4 chains. So now I'm going to flip the chains so that I'm working into the back bumps, which are right here, along each of those chains, skipping that first chain that you worked. So I'm going to insert my hook into that back loop, yarn over, and I'm going to pull through that loop, and I have 2 loops on my hook. And I'm going to do the exact same thing into that next bump. So I'm going to insert my hook, yarn over, pull through, 3 loops on my hook. Then I have 1 more loop from the chains, yarn over, pull through, 4 loops on my hook. So now that we've worked into all of the chains, now we need to attach it to the crochet piece. So in that next stitch, I'm going to insert my hook, yarn over, and pull through. So now I have 5 loops on my crochet hook. What I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer all of these loops onto my knitting needle. So starting with this first loop, I'm going to slip this stitch onto my knitting needle with the needle in the back and the crochet loop in the front. And I'm just going to transfer all of these loops over to this knitting needle. Okay, so now I have the live stitch with my working yarn on this side of my project, facing away from the point of my knitting needle. And this is where you grab your stitch marker, and you're going to slip that first stitch off of your knitting needle, and you're going to leave it attached to the stitch marker, and we're going to use that at the very end to attach the project together. So now we have 4 loops on your knitting needle. Working yarn is on this side. attached to this loop right here. So now we're going to start working into these 4 loops here using our crochet hook. So into that first loop, you're going to insert your hook behind your needle through the back of that loop. So the knitting needle's front and your hook is attached through the back. So now you're going to take your working yarn that's attached to this loop, yarn over, and you're going to pull your crochet hook through this loop. Just like that. And now we're going to slip the stitch off of the knitting needles. Like that. So now our working yarn is attached to our crochet hook over here. So we're going to do the exact same thing with the next loop on the needle. We're going to insert our hook through the back, yarn over, and pull back through that loop, and you're going to slide that stitch off of the needles. Now for these next 2 loops on the needle, you're going to work through both of these at the same time to create a slip stitch together. So this one is a little bit trickier, but you're going to insert your hook through both of those loops like that, yarn over, and pull through both of those loops and slide the knitting needle out. So now you have 3 loops on your hook, and now we're going to attach it to the side of the scarf. So I like to work into the end of each row of my scarf. So what you're going to do is you're going to find your next row end, and you're going to insert your hook, yarn over, pull back through. So now we have attached the I-cord to the side of the scarf, and we have 4 loops on our crochet hook. So now we're going to do the exact same thing. So we're going to pick up our knitting needle, and we're going to slip all of these stitches onto the knitting needle with the knitting needle behind the crochet hook like this. Okay, now we have our 4 loops on the knitting needle. The stitch with the working yarn is on this side of the needle. So now we're going to repeat that all again. We're going to insert our hook through the back like that, yarn over, pull back through that stitch, and slide the loop off of the knitting needle. Again, insert your crochet hook through the back, yarn over, pull through, and slide that loop off. When we get to these last 2 loops, we're going to insert our hook through both of them to create a slip stitch together, yarn over, pull through both of those loops to create 3 loops on the crochet hook. So now to create that 4th loop, we're going to work into the scarf, yarn over, pull through, and now we have 4 loops on our crochet hook, and we're going to continue repeating all of that all the way around. It is once you get the hang of I-cord, it is very easy to do. It is a very tedious task to do when it comes to projects. It does take quite a while, but once you get in the hang of it and the rhythm of the stitches and sliding the loops around and doing the slip stitches together, it is quite easy, and I find that it can be very rhythmic to do while I'm watching TV or while I'm knitting and crocheting with friends. So you want to continue repeating this all the way along the side of your scarf or the project that you are working the I-cord on, and I will meet you back when I'm on the other point, because I will show you how then to do the turn, so then you can turn it to then work along the other side of the scarf. So I will meet you back once I've worked the I-cord all along this edge. Okay, so I've crocheted the I-cord all the way to the other side. Sorry, my camera sometimes does not like to focus, and right now I have 3 loops on my hook, so I still need to work into the side of the scarf to anchor the I-cord to the project. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that, and really the goal at the point is to create a curve that we're going to work around. It's very similar to when you are crocheting around a corner, where often you'll work 2 or 3 extra stitches into that corner to create the curve. So we're going to be doing essentially that exact same thing. There's no specific science behind this or how many rows around you need to do. You just want to be a little bit more intentional about slipping into the scarf a little bit closer to the I-cord so that you're creating more rows around, which will create a nicer curve. So now I have my 4 loops on my hook. So I'm just going to go ahead and slip all of those stitches back onto my knitting needle. And again, I'm just going to work the I-cord the exact same. Essentially, all I'm doing around the curve is just working more rows. Okay, I have 3 stitches. So now I'm going to work into this topmost point right here. Right there. Slip into there. Now I'm going to slip all of these stitches back over. Okay, so we're working around that point. So I just worked into that loop right there. So now I'm going to work into the stitch right here. Again, you want to work these a lot closer together than you normally would along the side, just to create that curve. Okay, so now I'm slowly working around the curve, and now I'm going to work in right here. Again, this is not an exact science. You just want to be a little bit more intentional about working the I-cord just a little bit closer together to create a better curve, just so that it's not curving in on itself. Okay, and there you go. It should look something like this. Creates a nice point, and again, just creates a really nice finished look. So again, you're going to be repeating all the same steps for the I-cord all the way across the other side of the scarf, and I will meet you back all the way at the beginning again, where I will show you how to connect the beginning and end together. We're going to finish off this loop as well, and then you will have a finished scarf. I've just made it back around to the beginning of where I started the I-cord. Here's my stitch marker with that loop. I have done all of the I-cord all the way around. So now it is time to finish up the I-cord, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be sewing these 4 loops, the 3 that are on your crochet hook and the one that is here on your stitch marker. We're going to be sewing them into the beginning loops that we started with for a really nice clean finish. So where I've ended off is I worked as close as I could to the beginning again, and I did not pick up another stitch in the scarf. So that leaves me with 3 loops here plus this one for that 4th loop. So now I opened up my stitch marker. We're going to place all the rest of these loops onto the stitch marker just to hold them while we work through the loops. So I'm going to take this loop off, and I'm very carefully going to pick up this loop with my crochet hook, or you could use the stitch marker. Come back through so they are all aligned, and then I'm going to put them back on. I just like to reorder them a little bit before they go on to the stitch marker. So it should look something like this. So now we're going to sew these loops into this end over here. So you want to go ahead and grab your tapestry needle, and you can go ahead and fasten off your yarn. I like to leave a little bit of a tail just so I have plenty to work with. So I'm maybe cutting off maybe about 10 inches. So now we have all 4 loops on this stitch marker here, and the first loop that we're going to be sliding off is the one that goes right along this line here. So now what we're going to do to take it off of the stitch marker, we're going to work through the bottom up the top. This would be a knit stitch in knitting. You can go ahead and close the stitch marker so all of the other loops stay on there. Then we're going to go ahead and pull that tight. And now I like to just find the loop from that column, that very first column of V's, and pull the yarn through to fasten that together like so. And that should stay just like that. So now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to pick up. So now I'm going to come over here to the next loop. I'm going to turn it. I'm going to turn it like this and pick up the next loop off of the stitch marker. Go ahead and slide that off and fasten this closed. Okay. Pull that through. Then find the stitch over on the other side where you began that corresponds with that row of stitches, and pull that through. And we're going to do the same thing, and we're going to grab that next loop, pull through, find the column on this side. There we go. Now we're going to grab that last loop off of the stitch marker. I'm just going to go ahead and take that out. And we're going to go through this way. Then pull, and then we're going to find the loop over here. I'm going to pull that through. And there you go. There's a nice clean edge for the I-cord. It looks so beautiful, and it is just a beautiful, beautiful edge to add to any crochet project. And it is a beautiful, beautiful technique to add to any crochet project to just give it that really clean, finished look. Again, the free crochet pattern for the Alcott scarf pattern is linked down below. I hope this tutorial was helpful with doing the I-cord. It's a little tricky to start. It's a little finicky at the end to finish off, but it is a pretty mindless technique once you get the hang of it. And it is a beautiful technique to have in your set of skills with crochet to add to crochet projects. I really hope you enjoy this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.